All right, welcome back. We're looking at Module 2, Topic E, Lesson 16. Our objective says we're going to use divide by 10 patterns for multi-digit whole number division. So this is kind of an intro to division before we get into the quote-unquote, using air quotes, long division here. All right, so number 1 says divide. Draw place value disc to show your thinking for A and C. And if you notice, I have A and C set up a special way, or different ways here. And say you may draw discs on your personal whiteboard to solve the others if necessary. We're not going to draw discs. We're going to draw place value charts for the first couple, and then we're going to do the other ones. All right, so looking here, for A, 1A, we have 300 divided by 10. So I know that 300 can be broken down into 3 100s. Then if I divide it by 10, that would be 100 divided by 10 is 10. Second 100 divided by 10 is 10, and my third 100 divided by 10 is 10. So all three groups of 10 is equal to 30. So therefore I know 300 divided by 10 is equal to 30. All right, now the rest of these B, D, E, and F are similar to what we did Module 1, Topic A. So we're just going to take our 450, place it on a place value chart. Don't forget your decimal. And we're going to divide by 10. That means every digit in our 450 is going to slide over one place value unit to the right. So my 0 that's in the ones place is going to become 0 tenths. My 5 that's in the tens place is going to become 5 ones. And my 4 that's in the hundreds place is going to become 4 tens. So 450 divided by 10 is equal to 45. All right, now let's look at C. Instead of setting it up like I did with the place value disc like A, I set it up with the place value disc on a place value chart. So we can see here we have 1 10,000, 8 thousands divided by 100. So we have 18,000, and we're going to divide it by 100. Well, we know that when we divide it by 100, we're going to have to make two jumps. So everything that's here is going to move over two place value units, 1, 2. That's divided by 10, and then divided by 100. Same thing here. Everything that's here is going to move over 1, 2 place value units here. All right? So my ones, tens, hundreds, my 8,000 divided by 10 and then divided by 10 is going to become 8 tens. And my 1 10,000 is going to be divided by 10 and then divided by 10 is going to become 100. So 18,000 divided by 100 is 180. It's equal to 180. All right. Same thing here. Let's go ahead and pick up the pace. I have another method that we talked about where we, instead of moving our numbers, we're going to make it appear like our decimal moves. So I know I have 2 zeros in 100. So that means that my decimal is going to appear to move 1, 2 places. So I know that 730,000 divided by 100 is going to be equal to 7,300. And here's how that's going to look. I'm going to put my number on a place value chart. Bear with me. All right, so now we have our 730,000. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros in my dividend. So now I have that 730,000 on my place value chart. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to move it. We're going to divide by 10 and then divide by 10, which is divide by 100, right? Divide by 10 twice is equivalent to dividing by 100. So now let's go ahead and take a look at that. When I grab that number and I say divide by 10, divide by 100, now you see that it's going to be equal to 7,300. So by move, it appears that the decimal moved from, if you look at my zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, it looked like it moves from behind my fourth zero to in between my second and my third zero. Same thing I did here. I moved it from behind my fourth zero, and I said divide by 10, divide by 10. And now it looks like it's between my second and third zero. All right, so that's another method we talked about. Same thing here. I know that I'm dividing by 1, 2, 3 zeros, which is 3 tens divided by 10, divided by 10, divided by 10, or divided by 1,000. So it's going to appear like my decimal moves divided by 10, divided by 10, divided by 10. So that's going to be equal to 900. So once again, we could take our time and draw our zeros out. Actually, we need another one here. And we could say, well, I know this is going to move over 3 places, so divide by 10, divide by 10, divide by 10. If my decimal's here, it's going to look like this. Divided by 10, divided by 100, divided by 1,000. All right, so my 9 moved over 1, 2, 3 place value units, because every divide by 10 or base 10 would be one movement on a place value chart to the right. All right, same thing here. Looking at this, I know I have in my divisor, my second number, I have divided by 10, divided by 10, divided by 10. So I'm dividing by 1,000. That means my decimal is going to appear to move 1, 2, 3 times. It appears to move. It's not really moving. Remember, we talked about having this number, 680,000 on the place value chart. Here's my decimal. Every number is going to shift to the right. Divide by 10, divide by 100, divide by 1,000. So 10 to the third power is 1,000. Dividing by 1,000. So this 0 that was in the ones place is going to be in my thousands place. 0 that was in my tens place is going to be in my hundreds place. 0 that was in my hundreds place is going to be in my tenths place. The 0 that was in my thousands place is going to be in my ones place. The 8 that was in my 10,000 place is going to be in my tens place. And the 6 that was in my 100,000 place is going to be in my hundreds place. All right, and you can see that divide by 10, divide by 100, divide by 1,000. The decimal appears to move from behind my fourth zero to between my first and my second zero, just like it is here. All right, and you know that would be equal to 680. All right, let's take a look at the next set of problems. Now, they want us to add a different step in. If you notice, all of my divisors no longer have 1. They have a digit other than 1 in that first place value unit as we read from left to right. All right, so they have different numbers here. So all we're going to do is break it down so that we take it apart and we factor out the number. Let's factor out our divisor. So 20 is also named 2 tens. So I have a 2 and a 10. It's just that simple. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing here. Now I have 18,000, pardon that, 8, divided by 200 can be written as 100 divided by 2. So now I say, well, I know that 18,000 divided by 100 is going to look similar to this, where I'm just, on my place value chart, it's going to move 2 places to the right. So that's going to be, my decimal is going to appear to move 1, 2 places. So that's going to be equal to 180 divided by 2. All right. So now I say, well, I know that 18 divided by 2 is 9. So 18 tens divided by 2 is going to be 9 tens. Or 90. All right? So we have the same digits here, just in different place value units. So we have our 18,000 again for our dividend. Now instead of dividing by 200, we're dividing by 2,000. That's going to be equivalent to 1,000 divided by 2. Factor it out. 2,000, 2,000. All right. So now I'm going to say, well, 18,000 divided by 1,000, I know I'm dividing by 3 tens, right? Divide by 10, divide by 10, divide by 10. That's going to be 18. 18,000 divided by 1,000 is 18. And I have 18 divided by 2, and I get 9. I had 900, 9 tens, 9 ones. Look at that pattern. All right, because you should see it again here. Look, I have 6 tens, 600s, 6,000, similar to how it was here. All right, so let's look at D. Once again, I have 420,000 divided by, instead of putting 60, instead of putting 60, which can be named 6 tens, I'm going to name it as 10 sixes. So now I know when I divide by 10, I know that this entire number, this 420,000, is going to shift over one place value unit to the right. It's going to appear like my decimals there. So now I'm going to have 42000, 3 zeros instead of 4. And that's going to be divided by 6. I'm going to take my 42 out of my 42,000 and divide it by 6. And I know that's going to be equal to 7. Then I say, well, 7 what? And 42 divided by 6 is 7. And 42,000 divided by 6 is 7,000. All right, watch the relationship between D, E, and F. So we have our same 420,000. Now, instead of dividing by 6 tens, we're dividing by 6 hundreds. So we're going to take and separate our 600s, factor that out as 100 divided by 6. So I know that I have 2 zeros here, so that's going to be divided by 10, divided by 10. So it's going to be 4,200 divided by 6. I know that 42 divided by 6 is 7, so it's going to be 700. All right? Let's go ahead and continue. Have that same 420,000 divided by 6,000. So I have 1,000 and I have 6. So I will factor out that 6 is in the thousands place. All right. So I know once again I have 1,000. That's 1, 2, 3 zeros. So I'm going to say this is going to move back 1, 2, 3 place value units. So I'm going to have 420 divided by 6. That's a 0. So once again, I know that 42 divided by 6 is 7. So I have 42 tens divided by 6 is 7 tens. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at the last row here. 24,000, 3 tens. So I'm going to take my 10 and my 3. And the reason why we do it this way is because we know how to manipulate our first dividend on a place value chart, especially when we divide by our base 10 numbers. So divided by 10, divided by 100, divided by 1,000, that's easy to us. We know we're just shifting to the right however many times here. So we're going to shift one place value to the right. So instead of 24,000, it's going to be 24, not quite jump there, 2,400. The decimal will appear to move between my second and third zero. So we'll have 2,400 divided by 3. Now once again, if you don't know how to divide, you can just look at your multiplication table and say, well, when I go to my 3 times table, how many times do I have to go down until I get to 24? And your 3 times tables will say 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I know that 24 divided by 3 is equal to 8. So 2,400 divided by 3 is 800. All right? Keep in mind, we're doing our basic facts first. Showed you how to use that multiplication table. And now we're going to move on. Now I have a different set of numbers. I have 560,000 divided by 700. So I wrote it backwards. 100 divided by 7. So now I know I have divided by 100. So that's going to be, remember on a place value chart, this number will just move over 1, 2 places and be in my thousands place. This number here, my 5 will move over to my thousands place. My 6 that's in the 10,000 will move over to my 1, 2, my hundreds place. 5,600. It looks like these decimal will go to 1, 2 places. That's what it appears. divided by 7. So now we're going to say 56 divided by 7. If you don't know what 56 divided by 7 is, all you do is look at your place value chart, your 7 timetables. You have, let's draw a box here. You have 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if 56 divided by 7 is equal to 8, then 5600 divided by 7 is equal to 8. What? Hopefully you said 800. Last but not least, you should see the pattern here. Now we have 450,000 divided by 9,000. So I'm going to take my 1,000, I'm going to take my 9 divided by 1,000. I know that divided by 1,000, that means that this 4 and this 5 are both going to move over 3 place value units to the right. So if my 5 is in my 10,000s place, it's going to move 1, 2, 3 place values to the right, and it's going to end up in my tens place. So let's take a look. 1, 2, 3. It's going to be 450. So my 450 divided by 9. I don't know what 450 divided by 9 is, but I know my 9 times tables. So 9, 18, 27, 36, 45. I can start right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know that this is going to be 45 divided by 9 is equal to 5. So therefore 45 tens, so 5 is in the tens place, or this extra 0 means times 10. 45 tens divided by 9 is 5 tens. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the problems here. Numbers 3 through 4, I'm going to move through these kind of quickly. A stadium holds 50,000 people. The stadium is divided into 25 tens or 250 different seating sections. How many seats are in each section? So we have 50,000 divided by 250. Take a minute and look at that. If you notice, when I first said 250, I said it as 25 tens. 25 tens tells me that I can say, well, this is equal to 50,000 divided by 10 divided by 25. See my 25, that 5 is in the tens place? Alright, so let's go ahead and do this first. Well, I know if I had 50,000 on my place value chart, and I divide it by 10, everything will move over 1 place value unit. So that's going to be 5,000 divided by 25. Well, I don't know what 5,000 divided by 25 is, but I see here that in this number, I can take my 5,000 and rename it or call it 50 hundreds. So now I have 50 divided by 25. Well, I know 50 divided by 25 is 2, so therefore 50 hundredths divided by 25 is 2 hundredths. Each section has 200 seats. Alright, looking at number 4. This is a two-part problem. This is what we're going to wrap up. It says, over the course of a year, a tractor trailer commutes 10,000 miles, or 160,000 miles across America. A, assuming the trucker changes his tires every 40,000 miles or every 10,000 miles, and that he starts with a brand new set of tires, how many sets of tires will he use in a year? Alright, so let's take a look at that. Well, we know that he commutes 160,000 miles, and we'll divide that by his $40,000, miles. Alright, so now we know that this is going to be equivalent to 160,000 divided by, this 4 is in the 10,000s place, so that's 4 10,000. So I'm going to take my 10,000 and I'm going to take my 4. So now 10,000 has 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So I'm going to divide, say divide by 10, divide by 100, divide by 1,000, divide by 10,000. So I know that this is going to be equivalent to 16 divided by 4. And my 4 is still down there by itself. Alright, I know 16 divided by 4. If you don't know what it is, skip count by 4. 4, 8, 12, 16. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So my answer is going to be 4. He would go through 4 sets of tires in a year. Alright, now for B, it says if the trucker changes his oil every 10,000 miles or every 10,000 miles, and he starts the year with a fresh oil change, how many times will he change his oil in a year? So same thing, we're just going to take our 16 10,000s or 160,000, and we're going to divide it by our 10,000, our oil change miles, or our schedule. So now we say, well, I know that if I put this on a place value chart, put those extra spaces in. You don't really need them because you don't have to show those zeros, but I'm going to show every move. So divide by 10,000. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 jumps I need to make. So watch this. This is divide by 10, divide by 100, divide by 1,000, divide by 10,000. So my 0 that's in my ones place will move out here. We don't even name this place value unit, but that's okay. My 0 that's in my tens place is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 places to my thousands place. My 0 that's in my hundreds place, I'll also move 1, 2, 3, 4 places to my hundreds place. My 0 that's in my thousands place, my comma will be there. I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 places to my tenths. My 6 that's in my 10,000th place is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 places to my ones. And then my 1 that's in my 100,000th place is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 places to my tens place. So he would get 16 oil changes in a year. Alright, that is the entire homework. Let's just go ahead and look at this again. Remember, we said that an easier way to do this would have been to count our zeros and say divided by 10, divided by 10, divided by 10, divided by 10. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's divided by 10,000. And each jump is divided by 10. Divided by 100, divided by 1,000, divided by 10,000. It's going to appear like my decimal moved between my 6 and my first 0, just like it did here. Alright? Once again, boys and girls, please use this the right way. Don't just copy it. I'm not interested in you just knowing that you can get the answers from the video. I'm really interested in you using the compare and contrast, trying the problems on your own, and then looking to see if you got it correct and making the needed adjustments so that you know the material. Something that I heard the other day, I was watching church online, and I heard the pastor said something about routine precedes results. In order to get the results you want, you got to put the work in. So let's continue to work. Thank you to everybody who is putting in the work. Greatly appreciate it. And as always, keep learning.